epic interview time, and we have a fresh one for you guys.
We got our boy Nathaninja, Twilight Lord, who's going to sit down with us and answer some questions about Morton's List. Hope you enjoy it.
So random reality is a type of game. It's a term that we made up to try to explain what Morton's List is. What kind of game is it? It's not a tabletop game necessarily, although it could start as a tabletop game. It's a reality-based game, sort of like alternative reality games, ARGs, people are familiar with that. But unlike ARGs, where there is setup and plot and overlays on reality, a random reality game such as Morton's List is direct. You're not playing a character, you don't have external forces or plot dynamics. It's all just made up in the moment. It's more like improv. So when we speak about random reality, it's focusing on the random aspect of Morton's List and games like this that push you in a direction based on the roll of a die or based on a randomly determined mission or quest. But I don't like to get hung up on that term, because the randomness is the spark, the catalyst that helps create these real life situations and helps create them more regularly. But it in itself is not the end. The randomness is a means to the end. Morton's List is a game for small groups. Say, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 people gathered together to do something together in real life. You agree to play the game, give it a good shot, maybe half an hour, and allow the game to present you with a random mission. And give it your all, give it your creativity, your creative best, treat it like improvising with life, and you get out of it what you put into it. So it's cooperative, and just like in real life, amazing things happen. So the more you play, the more you're sort of like throwing darts at a board. And even if you can't see the dart board and you're throwing it out, eventually you're gonna hit a bullseye. And when you hit a bullseye with Morton's List, you'll never forget it. So engaging with random reality, specifically through Morton's List, since the early 90s, I've definitely experienced some amazing, unforgettable times, certainly. Top among those are the various trips that we've put together for Morton's List. In fact, the first one was down here to Knoxville with the Twilight Circle, Inner Circle. And from there, we went to Florida, to Miami, to Alaska, and eventually to Guatemala in 2012 for the change of the Bakhtun, December 21st. And that trip, among all of the Morton's List experiences and random reality experiences I've had, was the most memorable in many ways. It's a story for another time, but I was had a gun pointed at me at one point, which was not great, but it worked out okay. No shots were fired, no one wanted to shoot, but the trip through Guatemala, driving through the jungles of Guatemala for a week with a bunch of my partner in crime, Tall Jess, Twilight Lord R. Jesse, and some very high-level listers from all over the world. We had Italian, French, Northern Ireland, a very good friend of mine from Chattanooga, very close to here, Tennessee, and a whole bunch of people. So it was a great time. So the Council of Twilight Lords is comprised currently of 3 people, myself and the 2 other Morton's List authors, Robert Bruce and R. Jesse Deneau. And that is, that's basically it. The title comes from 360 Degrees of the Inner Circle, the Morton's List supplement that came out. Advanced rules, through playing the game, you earn points to earn titles. It's for people who are a little more serious in the game and have perhaps an inner circle that plays regularly and are looking to deepen their experience with the game, besides treating it episodically every time they play. So as you progress in the game, there are 13 titles, the Twilight Lord being the 13th. So that's it, really. If you earn 360 degrees through Morton's List, these are the points from playing, and meet other requirements, then you could apply to be a Twilight Lord. I'll never forget when I found out about The Dice Man by Luke Reinhardt. My Morton's List co-author, Rob Bruce, called me excitedly one day. It was like, you have to read this book. He just found it and read it, devoured it. I got a copy. And this was 2005. We had published Morton's List in 2001. And so we were not influenced by this at all, but when we read it, this is exactly what we were onto. So this was something that was in the human subconscious, universal subconscious, whatever you want to call it. I believe the book was published in '69 or '70. So its existence, it was around before I was even born. Perhaps even without realizing it, we were influenced by it. We had no conscious influence. And then after reading the book, after reading The Dice Man, and everything else by the author, devouring everything he's written, it was really interesting to see the Dice Man take on random reality. Usually played engaged with one person, or in the sequel book, you'd have couples, groups, all sort of different therapeutic practices based on random reality or dice living, as they called it. So a little bit different, and you're not, in dice living, you're creating your own list of possible options, so you're writing it all down, and it's really freeform. It could be anything. It's something that, like, unlike Morton's List, which is a little bit more organized, a little bit more group based social activity, dice living is open-ended. You make up the list, you make up when you're going to roll on it, you make up the results, and go from there. So yeah, in a way, it's kind of an earlier, more primitive, more raw form of random reality than Morton's List. And immediately when I finished the book, I was reaching out to anyone who was actually interested in dice living and living this philosophy in real life, and found a lot of people actually who were interested in it, who were experimenting with it, and a lot of people, interestingly enough, who had been in it and had gotten out of it. And I kept asking these people, well, what was it that got you out of it? And they would, 201, they would say, something really, really, really bad happened and I don't do that anymore. So for the dice living, it kind of seemed like there's a burnout factor, or maybe because there wasn't sort of like the groupthink or the opposite of peer pressure, the sort of stabilizing forces. You know, if one person has a crazy idea, well, if you have 6 people playing, then perhaps somebody will be the voice of reason. Whereas when dice living, there's sort of like, you don't have that oversight or scrutiny or like social safety nets or social bumpers on the bowling alley. I think it's kind of go off the rail. Whatever the metaphor is, it seemed to happen a lot. It kind of spin out of control. So in a way, we addressed issues in Morton's List, issues of dice living in Morton's List without realizing that. We instituted the group, the hour time limit, engaging with random reality, and then going back to normal reality. Whereas dice living, the lines are really blurred, and you kind of make up your own rules. Morton's List. It is the greatest game ever created to some people, certainly. We hope a lot of people feel that way. But what makes it a great game is that it is a catalyst for life. Great things and amazing memories and experiences will always happen to everyone in life. But Morton's List has, through very simple rules, harnessed a way to increase the odds of memorable, meaningful experiences happening to the players. And that's where the magic is. That's exactly what it is, because it's not, when you engage with Morton's List, you don't end up ever doing anything that you couldn't have already done. It's just that you wouldn't have thought of it. You wouldn't have gotten 5 other people to agree to do it. You know, it cuts through all that stuff and just makes things happen. And the more things that happen, again, with the odds, you know, you're throwing darts, eventually you hit a bullseye. You just got to keep throwing darts. And Morton's List is a easy way to engage in hour-long, bite-sized chunks. Just engage with the randomness, engage with the flow of life, engage with improvising with life, and see where it goes. And sometimes, a lot of times, it's not that memorable. It's a fun time, and 5 years later, you won't recall that time. But 1 out of 10 times, 1 out of 30 times, 1 out of 100 times, guaranteed, something life-changing and transformative will happen. And when that does, we'd hope people re-engage with the game and really get a lot out of it. So in Morton's List, there are 13 tables of quests or missions of about 27 to 30 missions per table, and they're all themed. So we have the daytime activities, nighttime activities, calm indoor orderly activities, kind of more unstructured activities, artistic activities, scientific activities, things like that. So as far as my favorite table goes, I would say the 5th table of the 13, which is I'm Neutral, is my favorite. It incorporates a lot of activities that just didn't fit anywhere else. We kind of looked at it like the mortar between the bricks. If all the other tables are bricks, I'm Neutral kind of holds it together. And in that way, it has an interesting variety of quests and missions. And for me, it's always, whenever you roll on Neutral, you still never know what you're going to get. If you roll the mountain table, which is physical activities, it's a little bit more cut and dry. You're going to be doing something physical. With I'm Neutral, you might be visiting a cemetery, you might be live action role playing. I mean, there's a whole bunch of just random stuff on this. So to me, the I'm Neutral table epitomizes Morton's List in that it's a shotgun blast of interesting stuff to do. Right, so Morton's List has been putting together international trips since 2012, since we went to Guatemala. 2016, we went to the Bahamas to dive the Bimini Road on our search for Atlantis, which is a quest that we engaged first in Guatemala. So we're sort of following these random leads and ended up bringing us to the Bahamas in 2016. Currently, we are in the early stages of crowdfunding for a trip to Iraq. Now, there's a little bit of backstory here. How we chose that trip is while we were scuba diving and rolling Morton's List playing the game underwater off the coast of Bimini, the quest that it gave us at that time is called Wish Fulfilled, and it's about fulfilling your greatest wish in life. So the 5 people who were on that trip, we all interpreted that as fulfilling our own wishes, our greatest destinies in life, and we're all working towards those ends to this day. But even deeper than that, and in order to provide a direction for the next international Morton's List trip, we felt that it was important to fulfill someone else's wish, so that the 5 of us would come together, supported by the entire global inner circle of Morton's List players, will hopefully chip in a little bit, and send someone on their dream trip for free. You know, what could be better than that, you know? And in providing and in giving that, making and fulfilling somebody's wish, we all felt that would be a great fulfillment of that quest. So we held a contest called A Trip to Someplace Fresh, because we didn't know where it was going to be, and everyone was invited to enter for free, to write down their destination and their reasons, you know? We got entrants from people from all over, and the destinations couldn't be more varied. We had people who wanted to go to Japan to look for Godzilla, and someone to go to Germany to meet his stem cell donor, to Ireland for the castles or the booze, all kinds of amazing trips. to California. One lister wanted to go be with his son who's in California. All kinds of very personal and specific reasons for these trips. And then, of course, as we do, we determined a random winner. And that is Matt Foy of Muncie, Indiana. And Matt's dream trip was just one word, Sumer, S-U-M-E-R. So I thought to myself, as in ancient Sumeria? Correct. So I had to look that up, exactly where that is on the map. And I'm thinking, is this in Jordan? I know it's in the Middle East somewhere. Is this in Iran? I'm not really sure. It turns out that the ancient nation states or city states of Sumer are clustered entirely in southern Iraq, present-day southern Iraq. So our mission is now to get Matt to Iraq and to raise enough money to do that. And if we raise enough money to send somebody else for free along with him, we'll do that too. So, and of course, everyone was encouraged and invited to enter that contest if we do meet that stretch goal. Of course, I would love to personally accompany Matt as well, but we'll have to raise some money for that too. It's not easy or cheap to get to Iraq, but Morton's List isn't about doing the easy or cheap thing. It's not about doing the expected thing. It's not even about doing the intelligent thing or the right thing. It's about doing the thing. And sending someone to Iraq to fulfill their life's dream is an amazing thing. And especially in this day and age with the pandemic and travel being even that much harder, that just gets us that much more excited to do it, because everyone you talk to, you say we're sending somebody to Iraq, they don't understand. It doesn't seem to make any sense. And we're like, exactly, let's do it. This is something we can get behind. So Morton versus COVID-13 is a game that we came out with just a few months ago. When quarantine across the country and across the world was increasing people's boredom for the first time in many years, we felt it was incumbent upon us as the creators of Morton's List to provide something for people to do as they were cooped up. And of course, the full game of Morton's List is available for people. And there's even PDFs online of portions of the game, Morton's Light 13%. We wanted to create a new game specifically of activities that could be done during quarantine and other restrictions. So we put together a reimagining of Morton's List in 30 different activities. So it's sort of like a distilling the essence of Morton's List into a game where you just consult the one table and get your random activity to do. We could do it with friends, family, anyone. And these are all activities that can be done post-quarantine, etc. It's a great introduction to Morton's List. We wanted to make sure to get that out to people during quarantine because people were bored, very, very bored. And Morton's List, the subtitle is Morton's List, The End to Boredom. So that is one of our main missions. People should never be bored. There's a lot going on in this life. There's no time for that. Yeah, so Stranger Tales, or Ninja Nate's Naughty Nerdy Storytime card game, that's a mouthful, is a game that I came out with in 2018 for Dark Carnival Games Convention 2. It was a 4-month challenge to myself to start to finish come up with a solo project. And it's a very simple game. It's a deck of cards, 88 cards. Each card has a photograph of a common item, perhaps a bowling pin or a bird or just any sort of common things. And it's played the same rule mechanics roughly as Cards Against Humanity. Very simple around the table game. Anyone can play it, great for kids, people of all ages. And the idea is that you look at the cards and tell a story from your life, share a memory of something that happened to you or something that you experienced. Just a 1-minute memory. It can be a teaser. You want to tell the whole story later for 20 minutes, that'll be great. The idea is that every single one of us is walking around, every grandma on the street, everybody is walking around with a gold mine in their heads of stories, of memories, of things they experienced. That if you just sit down with them for a few minutes and they could regale you with these stories, every person, oh my gosh, it's amazing. No matter how much money you got in your wallet, you've got bank in your memories. And this game breaks into that, cracks that open, And you might be playing with somebody you've grown up with, a family member, somebody you've known for years or your whole life, and they'll see a card and it's like an ink block or a Rorschach. It just triggers something that they weren't even thinking about, or a memory from 20 years ago. They have no idea. Or little kids can make things up as well. But the idea is to access memories and to kind of like share, Morton's List moving forward, we obviously just released the Morton versus COVID-13 game, which is fully playable during quarantine and beyond. We are currently in early stages of fundraising for a Morton's List international trip to Iraq, to aim at the sites of ancient Samaria specifically, with our contest winner Matt Foy, who we'll be sending for free, along with anyone who would like to join him. The adventure of a lifetime. I was very interested to learn at first about what it's like to travel to Iraq, what is there to do and to see, and the logistics and safety and all the questions that everyone has. And now that I've been researching it for many months, I'm very excited. I want to go. It's an amazing country, amazing people, and history dating back from before the pyramids. It's something else. So we're very excited about that. And as far as any other products or Morton's List related games that may be coming in the future, I can't say anything about that. But we are coming up to the 20th anniversary of Morton's List in 2021, July 13th specifically. So we'll have lots of festivities for that. We would like to break the world record of number of people simultaneously questing. So one Morton's List quest, highest number of people. We'd like to set a record in July 13th, 2020, and then break that for the 20th anniversary. Nothing would make me happier. And I think just to bring the whole global inner circle together and just get as many people on a quest as possible.